Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI, the podcast that connects marketing to your business's revenue and covers everything you need to know to stay up to date in this crazy digital marketing world.
Welcome to Digital Marketing ROI. I'm Shannon Allen, your host, and today my co-hosts are two brand new mothers. Well, I shouldn't say brand new. You guys each have a couple kids now, but you each within the last year and a half had another baby. So I thought it'd be fun in May and Mother's Day that we would do a podcast. So I'm Rory Kemerer, who's one of my digital marketing consultants, and Hannah, who is one of my campaign specialists. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know this is different than our normal podcast, but I thought it'd be really fun. We have so many younger moms, and older moms. I mean, I'm older with a 13-year-old where I have one of my younger moms who also has a 13-year-old. So it's kind of fun, right? So Rory, why don't you tell our listeners just a little bit about what you do here, and then tell us a little bit about your two beautiful little girls, and Hannah, you will do the same. Okay, so we'll start with you, Rory. Tell our listeners a little bit about you and motherhood.
Yeah, I'm Fort Wayne's digital marketing consultant for Federated Digital, and I started here actually 10 years ago this summer. 5 years ago, I took on the sales consultant role, and I had a daughter in 2022. She just turned 3, and then I have another daughter. She's somewhere around a year and a half, somewhere around that. So Winnie and Rosie are their names. Yeah,
Winnie and Rosie. We love that.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, what about you?
I am a digital campaign manager, so I just help with all the back end of our campaigns for all our sales reps. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so they're almost exactly 2 years apart. Hallie is my 3-year-old. We call her Hal. She's like insane. Everyone always told me when you had a little girl that it was like this little angel that's just gonna like color and sit there and chill, but she like literally climbs the walls. It's crazy, but it's super fun.
Well, and Brooks is
1. He just turned 1.
Just turned 1. That's right. Well, what I said was fun. One of our other newer moms, Carly, couldn't make it today. Jet is going to turn 1, I think June 1st. So he's about ready to turn 1. So Rory, Hannah, and Carly were pretty much all gone in a similar time span. Hannah and Carly for sure. And Rory had just came back. So we were in a baby boom, last year. So I love that you guys both have kids about the same age, which is really fun, right? Mm-hmm. So the first question I want to ask you is, how has becoming a mom changed the way that you approach your work or how you think about your career? And I'll start with you, Hannah.
Yeah, I think mainly just prioritizing. Like, I feel like I've always been very organized in my career, but after becoming a mom, it's like truly prioritizing the time that you have when you're working, because you don't want any of your work to spill over into your mom life, Yeah. But I also think, and not that I wasn't confident before being a mom, but becoming a mother instilled like some sort of confidence in me that I'm not afraid to speak up and like, I don't know, almost just like take control a little bit more. Like, I never thought that I wasn't before, but I have noticed, and I've gotten comments, especially in my previous role, like just how, I don't know, kind of like grew up a little bit and just had more confidence.
You do. And when you came here, you were already a mom. And so like, we didn't know you before, right? No, I like that. That's really good. Yeah. Well, same question for you, Rory. When I met you, you were a single woman, actually.
I know.
And I went to your wedding and then to see you have kids. So how has it changed for you?
To kind of piggyback off of what Hannah said a little bit, I think I use my time a lot more wisely since becoming a mom. I am not going to waste any time of the workday, not a minute, because it matters to me so much to only be working when I'm supposed to be working and be with my kids at all other times. And it's made me a little bit more fast-paced, I think, too. I think I could ruminate over things previously.
I've seen this change in you 100%.
Yes, but you learn, and I think Hannah knows this too, just because of some situations I'm thinking of over the years with Hannah, but you can't ruminate too much because I don't have the bandwidth to spend so much energy on something that doesn't matter. So I'm a little bit more fast-paced, and I definitely use my time a lot more wisely, I think.
Yeah.
I
And I
love
think
that.
that's part of like having that confidence. Like you're making the decision. You're not going to be like, maybe I'll wait until Monday because you're like, I can't have this on my mind over the weekend. The mental load already with the kids that you're like, okay, I'm just going to say yes or no to this and not think about it.
Right. No, I agree. I like that for both of you. And honestly, I can attest to that myself. I feel that same way. Ava's 13 now, but everything we do, even today, this call, and Rory and I are meeting after this, and then I have to be somewhere at a certain time. And it's always looking at your schedule. Thank God, what did we do before Outlook? I mean, like my calendar, I don't know about you guys, but my mom still uses her written calendar, but everything's in my phone. But do you guys stay organized that way, or what's your organizational skill?
Mine's all in my phone because I need
Yeah.
the reminders.
I do too. Yep.
I actually do write everything. I have a paper planner. I've always had a paper planner. I do put a lot in my phone, and I certainly send, like, for instance, even my babysitter likes to have like days I'm going to be off. Like she doesn't need to take the kids. She likes to have like reminders sent to her. So I do a lot from my phone as well, but I've always been someone to organize my thoughts. I need to write something down. So I write list lots, and I also use a paper calendar in addition to what I have on my phone.
Yep. Question number 2 I have is, I think something we all put too much sometimes. So many of us feel that the impossible pressure to do it all perfect, right? Be that dedicated career professional, as well as the ever-present mom. So tell me about a time, maybe, have you ever felt that pressure to choose between a career ambition or being present as a parent? And then how do you navigate those moments?
Yes, I definitely feel pressure in that way. I think what I still am learning how to do, and I'm always looking to people to figure out how they do it, kind of watching how other people handle it, is it's not necessarily the time that I'm trying to balance. It's my emotional, mental state. So being present with my kids means not worrying about work.
Right.
That's what it means to me. Like being able to shut the door on it at a certain time, at a certain day. And I'm still working through that and trying to figure out better ways to do that. So if anybody has advice on that one, I will take it.
Evolve, I promise you. Yeah. No, that's very true. It is hard to at times. My daughter was in the NICU when she was born, and there was a lot of stress when I first came back to work. It was a lot of guilt that I felt, and I didn't really have a lot of choice in the matter. I needed to come back to work, and I wanted to, but there is that in your head, you sometimes feel that pressure of I have to choose. So I like what you said, it's going to constantly change. What about you, Hannah? How do you navigate those moments?
This almost is going to sound like rude, but I just feel like if anybody who makes you feel guilty for having to like choose between work or your family, like they truly just aren't a person that you need to worry about. Like, in my opinion, it's like, okay, that shows who you are as a person, and
Agreed. And I would hope in our company, like I always laugh when we talk about work-life balance, because I don't think there's such a thing as balance anymore, because one day the scale's tipped one way, one that's tipped another. Sometimes it's just, how do you blend it? How do you figure out how to blend it all together and make it all work? Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in my previous job, I actually got like a very rude comment by someone that he just made a really snarky comment about how I don't work weekends. And I'm like, well, yeah, I have a 4-month-old. Like, no, I'm not going to get up on Saturday and, submit this creative because you waited or whatever. But he made me feel horrible about that. And that's kind of that turning point where I was like, okay, if he's going to make me choose and make me feel like I'm not good at my job, but then also make me feel like I'm being a bad mom if I choose, work on the weekend over my family, then this person is not someone I care to impress. And like this company, then maybe it's not the fit for me, because like it's very normal now to, obviously everybody has like a work-life balance.
Right. And the more that we work remotely from home, things are different. Back in the day, for me,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Getting her to daycare at a certain exact time so I can make it to the office by 8. I mean, life has changed a lot. The stress of that, I've always said, the busier we are, the more organized we are. So that kind of takes me to the third question. And I'm going to make this more fun. Like, so this question's about talking about boundaries. Like, what's one work boundary you've had to establish since becoming a mom, and how did it change your professional life? I'm going to make it more fun a little bit. So my boundary during COVID, when my daughter was old enough, so Ava's in 7th grade now, COVID was 2020. She was in 2nd grade and I couldn't take her to daycare, right? So I had to create a boundary of, when mom's here and on the phone and you can hear her, you can't open the door. I did a different podcast 2 weeks ago and we were kind of all laughing about that sometimes you bring that baby in, you set them on your lap and you let that play into your sales life, right? That it can sometimes benefit you. But I had been on calls during COVID where Ava would open up, Mom, can I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And, people laugh. We lived it. So can you each think of a situation where you're like, all right, I got to bring the baby in, that happened during a Zoom meeting or a work call that actually made it even more fun? Can you think of a situation like that?
Well, right after having Brooks, every time he was sick and I'd have to keep him home, and my husband and I, we don't really have anyone to help him
you
short
and Sharon in a
notice.
different part of the house working, right?
So my husband's working from home, I'm working from home, but he has a lot more meetings and his work's not as flexible as we are. And so, yeah, there are a lot of times that my computer would just be tilted up and I would just be like fully nursing Brooks as I'm just on a meeting with my team. You hear all the little drinking noises and his little burps and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I like that. What about you, Rory? Can you think of a time with, maybe not with sales or with a client? Has it ever happened?
It's harder to think of a time with a client. I definitely remember, and you probably remember this too,
Yeah.
Earlier this year, maybe even last year, it happened too, where my kids were sick. But
Yeah.
in our jobs, probably a little bit more on the sales side too, if a client needs something or you need to work to make something happen for a client, you're going to have to jump on a meeting. My girls had the stomach flu earlier this.
Oh God, that's right. It was just recent.
I think I had Rosie, my youngest, on the sales. I mean, she wanted to sit on my lap the whole time. So she was just waving at the camera the entire time. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do. I mean, honestly, they're the best part of the meetings when we can. Rory, you might remember this, but I don't think you were had yet, but it was a spring break week and I wasn't going anywhere. And so I did a bring your kids to work day. Do you remember this?
I think I remember you talking about it. Yes.
We did our vision boards. And so we had each of the kids do the vision board.
Oh,
okay. I don't know if I was there for that, but
so it was super fun. Yeah. Ava, actually, that's when I was the vice president of sales and operations. And so when you went around and asked what everybody wanted to do, hers was, I wanted to become a VP of a digital marketing agency. So she knew that at a very young age that she could say that. So that was super fun. That was. Well, let's talk about something that I think comes up a lot with just, moms in general. Well, I think people in general, but moms specifically, about the burnout, right? We know that burnout, especially for new moms like you guys that are juggling your career, sleepless nights, childcare issues, kids being sick. So how do you recognize burnout in yourself? Give yourself grace. And what strategies do you use to help yourself reset?
I think taking time away, just needing a day off. I know this year I took a day off from my daughter's birthday and I told myself that I was not going to check my phone, not going to check email the whole day. And I tried really hard to abide by that because I just felt like I needed time with her. I don't know. It was like a weird feeling. It can make me emotional thinking about it, but I just felt like I needed time with her. And then actually, we're leaving on vacation this Friday, and I definitely feel like I'm in a time where it's just like this overall feeling. I don't know if I would even call it burnout, but I guess that's a good way to phrase it, of I need time with my family.
Just to re-energize.
Yes. Yeah. And to also be able to dedicate, like to just show more attention to them.
Yep.
Even my husband, I mean, just to show some more attention. I think I need to do that. And I think you have to do that. Thankfully, our company to this point has allowed us to really take vacation when we need to. There's always the client facing side that's hard because clients aren't on your schedule. But I don't know. It's almost like I just get this feeling that I need to show them individual attention away from ordinary life. So I guess that's how I'm trying to avoid the burnout is
Yep. I like that.
of
I think
doing
that's
that.
always good. Well, Hannah, how about you? How do you first of all, how do you recognize it in yourself? Like, are there things that you find, like, I know with me, I find I'll start snapping at Ava about something, and
Yes,
she'll call me. Ava will be like, "Mom, just because you're having a bad day at work doesn't mean you can be mean to me." And I was like, "You're right."
Yeah.
So how do you recognize it?
I'm a snapper. All of a sudden I
Yeah.
snap and I find myself being like very annoyed. Like Hallie will come up and ask me for a snack in a specific cup and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, why do you need this cup? Like it's fine. You can just." And but then it's like she's 3 and she wants her pink cup.
Yeah.
Like why am I getting mad at her for that? That's like this is on me. And that's usually when I'm like, okay, I need to take a step back and figure out need to quit taking out whatever I'm frustrated with on a little 3-year-old, you know?
Yeah. Do you do things like, all right, I'm going to take my lunch break now, or I'm going to go for a walk with the kids? And is there ever times like that? Because I think that's really valuable. I think, especially if you're working from home and, you have a nanny or you have the kids are there or by yourself, to wait till your husband gets home or something and be like, I got to go for a walk.
Yeah, I try to go for like one 15-minute walk a day because it's as weird as it sounds, like it's hard to get outside sometimes. I'll be like, oh my gosh, the only time I left in this last week every single day was to go pick up my kids from daycare. Like that's pathetic,
No,
But
I agree with that.
Brooks loves a stroller. He loves going for a walk, and Hallie likes to collect random things. So I'll just get a bucket and yeah, going for a walk, spending time with them. And I think that's kind of like something when you hear like burnout with moms. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I'll come watch your kids or I can help you with the kids. But a lot of the time, burnout is more of like everything else. It's like kids actually fill your cup and your family fills your cup, but everything else is in the way of that. And so like getting emotional, worry about, okay, I feel like I need more time. It's like because your kids fill your cup and they make you happy, but yet the laundry and the work and the dishes and the grocery shopping all need to be done. And like I'm sure a client is emailing you and you're like, well, now I got to look at my phone and they're staring at me looking at the back of my phone and all of that.
No, I
all that
love
leads
that.
to the real burnout.
It does. I was thinking of last week. So my daughter's 13 and she's been having some skin issues, and I never lived with that. And at 13, because you can imagine, like kids with acne or anything at that age, it's horrifying. And so I've invested in a program for her, and we go every 2 weeks, and she gets this facial treatment. And I've come to really love where it's like I pick her from practice, we go, it's a half an hour away. And then we go, and when she's on the way home, we'll stop and get her Big B or whatever she wants. And I said to her the other day, she's always so nice to me then. And I'm like, I really enjoy these moments. And it's during that time that I do no work. We're just in the car. And I get what you guys are saying. And it's only going to get busier. So these are those times, right? These are the times that I would love to grab my daughter and hug her and kiss her right now. She's not letting me. But you guys still get the snuggles and the love. And that I think helps with burnout, right? That's the cup that you're filling that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, and Anna, to you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Rory. Keep going.
You talked about a walk. When I get my kids, normally there's a little bit of a time lapse between when Austin, my husband, gets home. And so I try, if it's even halfway decent out when we get home, just to take a quick walk around the block because it's like so quiet and peaceful. And I normally leave my phone in the house. And yeah, that is helpful to me too. Definitely.
I love that. I do. Well, we're going to end it with one last question. What advice would you give to somebody just getting ready to start a family, to figure out that blend or balance? Or maybe what do you wish someone had told you? I think maybe I'll start it. For me, when I was 41 years old with Ava, I think the advice I would have given everybody, especially now that she's 13, is do exactly what each one of you have been talking about is what's the saying? We don't live to work, we work to live, right? Yeah. So that advice, if you can put that up somewhere and just remind yourself that you do this job because you want to have all that time with your family and doing everything. I always have to remind myself, I don't live to work. I try to remind myself that's not my job. My job is to work so that I can live and spend that time with my daughter and my family. So Hannah, why don't you go first? What advice would you give, or what do you wish somebody would have told you?
I would say to not compare yourself. Like everyone's situation is so different. The type of help that they have, their career goals, mom goals, like the way they choose to parent, everything is so different. Kids are different and their like temperament. And I found myself just comparing to other mothers in the beginning and just getting like down on myself and feeling like I wasn't good enough. And I just wish someone would have said, don't compare. Because half the time, the moms that I thought were like doing so well, they had like full-time nannies, and we didn't have that. So I'm like, oh, no wonder they always look like they slept a full night, and I don't.
Their hair was all done and makeup
Yeah,
on.
no, seriously though, and I'm like, because they have 24/7 help, and we don't. It's just in general, I just think comparing in motherhood, like especially with social media, like now we have
Oh,
it's everyone just posts a highlight reel too, and you have to remember that. But yeah, that's something that I feel like it stole a couple months for me in the beginning because I was just like comparing a lot and down on that instead of celebrating like small wins
yep.
and stuff.
I love that. That's great. What about you, Rory?
I think give yourself grace, as
Always.
kind of what Hannah's talking about a little bit there too. I think that's so important. I find myself finding something to feel guilty about a lot of the time. I think that only actually takes away from who I am when I am with them. And then I would also say being present, just take the time that you have and soak it up on maternity leave. You don't get that time back when you have time with your kids when they're little like that. And then also the time that you have, I mean, sometimes it's so easy to just be in the habit of grabbing your phone to check something, or even zoning out when they're trying to talk to you, or rushing bedtime because you're tired. I do that sometimes, and then I regret it because those are the times that you don't get back. And just like you're saying, Shannon, that's a great reminder right there. Is there's going to be one day where they're not climbing me and all over me and crying for me. And there's moments where I'm exhausted by it, but I don't want to
change it.
Yeah, I don't want to change it. I want to soak it up as much as I can.
No, I love that. And you said something that it just hit me. And I don't know if you guys did this. I really hope you did. But when anybody's gone on maternity leave, it's a strict HR, like, we can't reach out to you. It's very important. And that's for many reasons. But like Ava was in the NICU, and like I left not ready to be gone. Rory, I know for you, you've been so organized, both maternity leaves, that you came back to things perfect because you had it so great, right? And Hannah, you had a team of people behind you that you could leave and be like, hands off, I don't have to handle it. I'm such a control freak. When, my water broke, like I went into the doctor to check something. And before I left, the doctor's like, let me check one more thing. He's like, oh, nope, your water broke. You're good. I'm like, I got 8 weeks. And I remember thinking, I'm not ready. I haven't finished my maternity leave notes, and I panicked.
Yeah.
But guess what? It all worked out. And for 12 weeks, I didn't think about work once. And if I could give that advice, maybe that would be it, is on your time with your family, pretend like you're on maternity leave again, because that is that time when you probably really disconnected the most. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just truly goes by so fast.
It does. It does. But I'm very grateful for you guys as new moms. I think there's nothing better on our team that we have so many new moms that work for us, because it's the next generation of moms. I can't wait to do it again in a couple of years when the kids are at a different age and see how things have changed. So I think that would be fun to do this every year, and every year hear what's changed, and are we taking our own advice, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the hardest part sometimes.
It is. It is. Well, thank you guys. This was super fun. I really appreciate that you took the time today. And I think our listeners will enjoy something a little different than just talking about marketing, right? So thanks to our listeners. Thanks to Rory and Hannah, and tune in to our next episode of Digital Marketing ROI.
You've been listening to Digital Marketing ROI from Federated Digital Solutions. Do you have an idea for a future episode or a burning digital marketing question? Text ROI to 45364 to get a link where you can share your idea. Subscribe to get new episodes every other Thursday, plus Tip Tuesday insights every week.
Podcasts by Federated Media.